Okay. So the first part is talking about domain and range. What's domain stand for? X's. What about range?
Y.
Okay, so if I'm looking at this graph, these are my X's. What X's am I hitting? I'm hitting 1, -1. Am I hitting any other numbers?
2.
Am I hitting 2? Am I hitting 3? I'm hitting 4. I'm hitting -2, -3, -4. What am I not hitting?
0.
I'm not hitting 0. Am I hitting a half?
No.
No. So I'm hitting everything except for between those. So how would I write that for my domain?
Everything, all reals except.
All reals except, how would you say that?
-1 to 1.
Okay, all reals except between -1 and 1. Okay, what about the range? What Y's is this graph hitting? And this is section 1.5 if you're taking notes. What Y is this graph hitting? Is it hitting -2?
No.
No, is it hitting -1? What about 0? Yeah, what about 1?
Positive, right.
Yeah, it's saying all the positive, so you could say all the positive real numbers. How else could you say it?
All reals except greater than 0.
All reals except negatives, or you say all reals greater than or equal to 0. I like that one because it's less words. Okay, so then if I go look at number 3, what would my domain be on number 3? What X's am I hitting?
-4 and 4.
Negative, so how would you split that? It's hitting from,
All reals between -4 and 4.
good. So all reals between -4 and 4. Okay, what about your range?
All reals greater than
Less than
to 0. Less than or equal to 4.
Okay, so greater than 0 and less
Between
than 4,
0 and
right?
4.
So I would say between 0 and 4 would be easier, right, to write? So all reals between 0 and 4. There's other ways you can say it, I just try to go with what I think is the easiest to understand. Okay, is that going to help us do number 2 and number 4?
Yes.
Okay, what do you think the domain for number 2 is?
All reals.
All reals, okay. What about the range for number 2?
All positive.
All positive reals, how else would I say it?
All reals greater than
All
or
reals
equal
greater
to
than equal
0.
to 0, good. So like if you want to like go ahead and start your homework, you could. Okay, what about your domain on number 4?
All reals except 1.
All reals except 1, okay, why is it except 1?
Doesn't hit 1.
Okay, if there's an open circle, it means it doesn't include that number. So all reals except 1. What would your range be?
All reals.
No.
Wait,
It's like none except.
1
Is it none except 1 and -1?
Okay, it's not except for 1, so your range is just 1 and -1. So none of them except for, so if you just want to put 1 and -1, that's fine.
Do you say 1 and -1?
Yeah, because those are the only Y's you're hitting. Okay, and then 5, 6, 7, and 8. I don't know if you've seen stuff like this on your SAT or not. It was when I took the SAT, but that was a long time ago. These are determining values at functions. So what you do is the number in parentheses is your X. You're trying to find your Y value. So like if I go to -2 on the X's, which is right here, I want to know that Y value. Well, the graph is crossing perfectly there, so what would my Y value be? 0. Okay, if I go to -1, -1's right here. If I go find my graph, that's right there, what is my Y value? -1. Okay, what would it be at a half? If I go to a half. If you can't look up here, look at your book. If you go to a half, I'm right here. What's my y value would be 0 because it's right there on the axis. Okay, what about at 1? Well, if I go find my graph at 1, it's right here. What would my y value be?
-3.5.
-3. Okay, you think you can do number 6?
Yeah.
Okay. So number 6 is on your homework. So if I'm at -1, -1's right here. If I go find my graph, where am I at?
4.
4. Okay, what about at 2? You're at 3, good. What about at 0? 2, good. And what about at 1?
0.
Okay, so if you want a second to try to do number 8, go ahead. The only thing I want to talk about number 8 is which one do I choose if I'm looking to find 1? What's my value at 1? Is my value 1 or -2? 1, because if you have a choice, you have to go with the closed circle. Okay? Alright, so if you want a couple of minutes to try to do number 8, go ahead. Okay, do you have any questions about that one? Everybody's good? So everybody's good on domain and range and finding the function values. Okay, the next part, which I know you can see the answers because I have the teacher edition. Okay, vertical line test. You remember what the vertical line test is? Okay, if you can draw a vertical line, it can only cross one time for it to be a function. So like if I draw a vertical line, let's say my vertical line's here, in order to be a function, it can only cross one time, which this one does. That's why this one is a function. Okay, number 11 is not a function because if I draw a vertical line anywhere, so let's say I draw it here, it crosses here and here, that crosses twice, so therefore it's not a function. Okay? So why is number 12 not a function? Because it'll hit twice. If I draw like on the circle, if I draw, let's say, a line here, it hits twice, so it's not a function. So you should not be able to do 10, 12, and 14. So you want to go ahead and do those 3? I'm going to turn off the board. Okay, what did the last set of directions say? Okay, so you gotta find the zeros. How do you think you find the zeros? You're gonna set it equal to 0. So when you wanna find the zeros, you're gonna set it equal to 0 and solve. What are some other words for zeros besides that? Solutions. What else? X-intercepts. Roots is another one that you'll see. They all mean the same thing. Okay, so we're going to do 2 examples. And then we'll be done. That should be able to help you for the rest of the assignment. Okay, so on the first one, I set this equal to 0, so I have 0 equals 2x squared minus 7x minus 30. Okay, then if you can factor. What if you can't factor a quadratic? What could you do? You can do the quadratic formula. Okay? Remember, if there's a number in front, you have to multiply and do the long way. So multiply to get negative 60. Add to get negative 7. Would be negative 12 and 5. Then we're going to split the middle. So I have 2x squared minus 12x plus 5x minus 30. Group. First one I can factor out at 2x. And I'm left with x minus 6. Second one I can factor out at 5. And I'm left with x minus 6. So this is x minus 6, 2x plus 5. And then what do I do to finish that out? 7 equal to 0. So what are my two answers going to be? 6 and then negative 5/2. Okay, why do I have solution sets?
More than one answer.
You have more than one answer. So you can do the shortcut if the number in front of x squared is 1, but if it's a different number, it's not just going to be, my answers aren't going to be 12 and negative 5. Okay, make sure you go all the way down. Okay, the other one I want to show is if you have fractions. These are actually easiest. Okay, because when I set this equal to 0, I have 0 equals x over 9x squared minus 4. Okay, how do you get rid of a denominator? Okay, you multiply both sides by that. So when I multiply by 9x squared minus 4, on the right hand side those cancel and that's just x. On the left hand side, what's 0 times anything? 0. And then I would just solve this equation. Well, 0 equals x, that's already solved, so that's your answer. How would you solve square roots? Okay, after you get the square root by itself, then you would square them. Okay, that will get you all the way through page 61. So you could honestly finish that today before class is over. Okay?